Okay, I'm going to go through the script. Hopefully, I'll be helpful to some extent. I'm not going to go through all of the notes in detail because some of them already been covered in the email message that I sent you before. So I'll just go through those I think that I missed, and at the very beginning of the notes, I took the liberty to include some possible way for rewrite option, but I think it. I mean, eventually you're the person doing the rewrite. So, at the very beginning, I offer some suggestions as to what you might be able to do, what you might be able to throw in as a replacement. But later into the script, I probably just say probably you can consider replacing or rephrasing the lines as opposed to actually telling you how to do it. So here we go. And also, I don't know why the script that you sent me doesn't have page numbers. So what I'm doing right now is to label the pages myself. So I'll tell you which page I'm on, and you probably can refer to the original script, the version that you sent me. Okay. Let's see. So on page 1, let's see. So middle of page 1, Bull said, okay, we can make it. And Bear said, we. And after that you say, what do you mean by we? Probably you can cross out what do you mean, because personally I don't think it's going anywhere. Even though there's an answer after that, did you come already? You see, there's no direct link between what do you mean by we and did you come already. So I would probably cross out what do you mean. And as to do you come already, I probably would say come on baby, because it sounds a little bit plain and just not exciting to my taste, at least. Okay, alright, further down to page 1, Bo said, are you going to hack into my phone? And Bear said, are you going to try to stop me? I would say, want to stop me, or stop me, then sneers. Okay, on page 2, towards the bottom, Bear says, you know I code better in dog style because I don't have to look at your face. I'm wondering what she means by this. What's wrong with his face? Probably also because we don't have the actors and actress yet. Probably you can pick someone with a kind of unique and interesting feature for that. Okay, on page 3, at the bottom upper part, Bo says, one time HX0001 under F0003. Sorry, I'm not very tech savvy guy, so help me understand what those two numbers mean. And I probably am speaking on behalf of some of our audiences, because some of the audiences probably not that tech savvy either. Okay, so consider put some explanation to these two numbers. Further down the line, the page, there is a very long, sort of like monologue. I probably put it in my notes before. I probably suggest you trim down a little bit. I'm not saying that the lines were not interesting. They're interesting, but you probably try to. It might work better if you try to tell deliver the same message using fewer lines. My general impression, the general impression is that it looks more like a TV script. Probably because you told me before that you've been working in reality TV show. Uh, uh, I guess that this is more like what you're used to, that kind of writing style, a little bit chatty. There's nothing wrong with it, but probably it is more suitable for a different medium. For TV, it looks okay, but for film, people usually are not used to this kind of chatty style. So that's why I said probably try to trim down a little bit. Um, but this is the other reason why I'm talking about TV. Probably further down the line, you can consider uh, uh, submitting the the finished product as a TV show or a web series. Um, this way, I mean, this kind of style uh, will, can really find home in the TV medium. Just a suggestion. I'm not saying that this is the only way, because this is a satire, and satire usually can be a little bit chatty. But let's just take Oscar Wilde as an example. Oscar Wilde's scripts tend to be really, really chatty, and well, obviously, it is expected because his works are plays, they're not movie scripts. But if you be able to make a comparison and contrast between the original play and the movie production, not remake, the TV interpretation of, let's say, Ideal Husband, then you notice that a lot of the interesting stuff got cut out, and there's nothing wrong with the social criticism, sarcastic social criticism of Oscar Wilde scripts in general, but in order to fit the whole story within a 2-hour time frame, a lot of the interesting stuff unfortunately had to be cut out. So, well, just my my bias. Okay. On page 4, towards the bottom, the description, the action says bear in traditional hacker uniform of crusty sweats. Personally, I'm not a sci-fi person, so I don't usually. I cannot reconnect what you describe with a kind of vivid image. I'm not saying that you need to give me you need to rewrite it, because you're the person ultimately doing you're going to direct it, but probably you can help me by giving me a sketch of what you mean by this description. Okay, on page 5, in the middle of it, Bear said, "How are you doing that?" And Bo says, "I'm sorry." Bear says, "I'm sorry." Probably I would cut it down a little bit. I'm not saying that we're not saying this. Probably I would say, "Huh?" Okay. Okay. At the bottom of page 5, Bo has a kind of sort of like extensive monologue again. This is another part that I would suggest not cut. Usually I think that you have a lot of juicy stuff in there. Just try to communicate and express your thoughts using few words. Okay, let's move on to page 6. Bo says, "Excuse, you are making excuse. That's what you're doing wrong. You're not getting the job done." Da da da. Okay. What I would say, I probably would say, Bear, I would have Bear says, excuses, excuses, excuses. And the bull looked frustrated, and Bear continues with her line. Okay, this is sort of like to make it shorter, and because when you have Bear constantly like speaking those lines, that the whole thing stall. Okay, so I would probably trim down a little bit. The middle of page 6, it says you have Bear says, "What's Rule 38?" Frankly, I don't know what that means, so help me understand it. Okay, let's move on to page 7. At the bottom, programmer says, "Holy shit! There it is. I'm definitely dreaming because the coincidences are too much." Okay, and then you have the programmer continuing with the rest of his lines. I probably would suggest a beat over there right after because the coincidences are too much, and beat, or just a pause, or insert an action, because then this you not see the same face for too long. Okay, it's kind of the tempo thing. Okay, move on to page 8. Towards the bottom, Bear says, "I want you to fuck my husband." Personally, I think that considering Bear's feeling towards Bull, Bear probably would have a different way of calling her husband even in front of other people. So probably fuck my man, fuck my hobby. Try to come up with something different as opposed to just other than my husband. Okay, all right. Move on to page 10. On the upper part, Bear says when he sees himself fail, he gets sad. He performs better when he is sad. Okay, I know what you try to convey, what kind of information you try to convey. Probably consider rephrasing the lines. This is just something that come up on the top of my head. I probably would say when he finds when he feels beaten, he gets frustrated. Frustration is his best dopamine or testosterone booster. Okay, so try to come up with something slightly, like, I cannot say really juicy, but something that people probably would say, but slightly different or juicier than everyday conversation. Okay. So far, my impression is that a lot of the lines sounds too much like everyday conversation. So, try to put some color, make the lines sound a little bit colorful. Okay. On page 11, programmer says, "I guess so. One last question. What are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Is it a sex thing?" Bear says that's 2 questions. And programmer says, so it is a sex thing. Bear, I probably would have her say, I don't need to answer that. And the programmer can continue saying the same thing. So it is a sex thing. Okay? Alright, to page 12. This is just a format thing. Middle of page 12, for the location, you put interior bedroom, morning, supposed to be day, I think. This is this is something you write for yourself, so this is just a reminder. Okay, further down page 12, Bear says, "You brought me coffee in bed," and Bo says, "Would that be surprising?" It sounds okay, but try something slightly different. I would have Bear say, "What's the occasion?" And Bo says, "Does it have to be for any occasion?" something like that. Okay, this is just something that I come up with the top of my head. Okay. Alright, turns to page 13, towards the bottom for the action part. Bull can't believe that shit. How are you going to show it? Maybe he raises his eyebrow, or he looks astonished. Give me some something to think. Like, give me bring me some visual. I find the script very interesting, but sometimes you probably have your ideas just flow, and then you're just putting whatever comes to mind. I know artists usually do this. I do it from time to time too, but sometimes you everything flows so naturally in your head that it might be okay for you to just throw out a plethora of lines, but for me as a reader, sometimes it's confusing because you don't have the action in between, and I don't know what kind of things are actually going on when I read those lines. Okay, so when I said that this script looked more like to me it's more like a director's script, I wasn't saying as a kind of derogatory comment. It was more like your style, because a lot of the things going on in your head and what you spit out were pretty much just the dialogue. So sometimes it's kind of hard for me to picture what's going on. So I mean, that's okay, because eventually you're doing the directing. You direct the film, but probably when next time we get to sit down and talk, you can fill me in to help me better understand your whole vision. Okay, let's move on to page 14. On the upper part, Bull says, I was going to go with look, no murder suicide yet. Help. I mean, it is interesting, but probably help me understand this a little bit, because there's no pretext for that. Okay. All right. So let's move on to page 15. This is the okay. This is the marriage counselor scene. On page 15, the first few lines for Dr. Chanton. I know we're making a movie, so it's things doesn't need to be they're dramatic, the dramatization. We shouldn't expect everything to be as it is in real life. But my concern here is, first of all, is a little bit chatty, but also for psychotherapists, at least when I was trained to be a psychotherapist, I usually don't talk that much. So trim down a little bit for this psychotherapist. The first lines, few lines, for first time when Dr. Chan speak. Further down, on page 15, there's this Harvard Business Review says power couples should have sex 3 to 5 times a week. Power, do you mean by powerful couples, or you really mean a power couple? Okay, all right. Let's move on to page 16. Bo says, at least I was fucking. At least I wasn't sleeping through the bell. Here, I probably would put a beat so that there's a break. Is there probably an action? What I would probably suggest, reconsider the whole scene of the psychotherapist part, because I know that you try to establish a kind of a image, what kind of interaction, what kind of relationship between the couple has. But one thing, when you're trying to show their personality, their relationship, it might be more efficient to do it when you're also telling the story at the same time. I When I read it, I got the impression that you created this scene to build up another arena where we could get a sense of what kind of relationship they had. But I'm not saying this is completely redundant, but this part probably doesn't really directly related to the development of the plot, and this is my concern. But this is just a suggestion. If you still want to keep the scene, that's fine. Alright, now let's move on to page 18. English isn't my first language, so sometimes I probably, I don't know. This page 18 in the middle. There says the site was unisex. Or can I do this in Craigslist? I think it's on Craigslist because you're on the website, right? Okay, let's move on to page 19. Let's see. So, interior bedroom night. Bull hooks himself up to a bunch of electrodes and other biometrics equipment. Half of them run to his PC, half of them to Bear's laptop. Okay, so now you show Bear and Bull completely voiceover. There's a voiceover off screen. Now I'm a little bit confused. Okay, and also, who are Bull and Bear talking to in the scene? You probably need to throw in more information, or you can just maybe next time when we talk, you can fill me in. Okay. Now let's move on to page 22. You incorporates the joke of Lin Zhiling, right? Who the hell is Zhiling, right? This is the supermodel here from Taiwan. I appreciate that. That's good, a good reference. But my concern is whether people outside Taiwan. I mean, you know who Lin Zhiling is, good. But my concern is whether people outside, like average American, will get this joke. So my concern is a little bit too culturally specific. At the bottom of page 22, this is our dead child, because you don't have the action during this whole part of conversation. So I don't know what you refer to this. This is our dead child. Probably you have to help me understand this. Okay, now move on to page 23. Again, you seem to use proverbs quite often, but the reference is not clear. So, like page 23, upper part, there says he was supposed to be 7 today. He, what do you mean by he? It's a little bit unclear. Okay, at the bottom of page 23, graphic designer says, it is the time I thought it was going to be a challenge, and this part probably you can consider trimming down. Okay, let's move on to page 25. Upper part, the top of it, Bo says, you wait till virtual reality catches up. You, some kind of a studies graduate. Studies, you use plural. Help me understand what you refers to. Studies, you had quote unquote, so help me understand that. Okay, now let's move on further down to page 25. You said you have graphic designer says, or girls, they do great work. I already have my blood work done at the same premises. They're done in Shenzhen, and they offered one free sample. Shenzhen, that's how they pronounce it in Chinese. This is also a little bit too culturally specific. All right. Next page, page 25. Graphic designer says, "Don't think I'm a bad person, please. I try to be as good as a person as I can. I probably will consider trimming it down a little bit." Okay. Moving on to page 28. In the middle of it, the female voice says, "So we're just gonna drop off Claire." Claire, who is Claire? And also, first of all, if you're referring to the name, the female's name, Claire, you don't have it capitalized. So I thought is either Claire, or drop off clear. Is it clear? Okay. All right. At the bottom of page 28, you have both say, "Wait, are we doing soulless or selfless?" Okay, this is a very interesting line, so keep in mind, do keep it. Okay, let's move on to okay. Okay, now page 33. Towards the bottom of it, you have the scene heading. You say later, perhaps cut to the clock instead. Okay, because you have later. I don't know what you mean by later. Does it mean that you're going to have another scene on the same location? And if so, you cut. But the audience probably will not get it. They don't know that you have some time passage. So what I would do be probably cut to the clock, or cut the camera to the clock to show the time, and then cut back. So to show some time passage. Okay. All right. To let's see. Page 38. Middle of it, Bo says, "Ha ha ha, what? What about find your asshole first and then don't buy it because," and then in particular, middle of it, it said, "I've been an energy sector guru for 11 years. Okay, my concern is, are we giving the audience this piece of information for the first time? Did Bo just make this up, or for the sake of the argument, or is he really doing this stuff? It might be helpful if we can incorporate this piece of information, like what he has done in the past. Like you said, he has been an energy sector guru for 11 years. Okay, this kind of information, exceptional. What do you say? This is kind of information. This kind of information is it might be more efficient if you show visually at the very beginning of the story. So just a few shots will be efficient. If some of the background information about any specific characters will be kind of helpful for the development of the story later on. It might be a good idea to throw out the information at the very beginning or as early as possible. It kind of a intrusion for you to throw at this piece of information at the audience all of a sudden. So try to move this piece of information to earlier. Okay, all right. Let's move on to page 39. Scene heading. interior bedroom the next day. Is it morning? Is it morning? Or next day? I assume that it can be next day, next evening, afternoon. The next day, do you mean next morning? Alright. Okay, further down the line on page 39, we've already met our quota for intercourse this week. Rule 2 says, okay, so did we know the rule about intercourse? We didn't seem to have touched on that beforehand. So if you want to have this as a kind of points that you want to play with in this specific line, I probably would suggest the same thing with what I just told you about. Move some of the information to earlier part of the script so that you have something to play with. Okay. Page 40. For Bear, middle, last line, Simon and I think it's Simon and Schuster, right? Publications. So just a reminder. Okay. Now move on to page 42. Here in middle of it, let's see. Bear says we only made 2.5 million yesterday. When could we have made? And Bull thoughtfully says 4.2 to 11.5 billion. Did you sleep well? Bear say what? Here, this is another point that I would like to make. Don't have the character say something when you can actually have the lines replaced with some expression, action, movement. Do so. So as opposed to having the Bear say what, I probably have her show kind of like what, that kind of expression as opposed to having her say it. Okay. Bottom of it, Bear says, yes, I had a nightmare that I'm wasting my life away with a worthless man. I probably would say, I had a nightmare in which I'm wasting my life away with a worthless man. Move on to page 43. Upper part, Bo says, which is a good thing because you are beautiful inside and out. This part I probably would trim down a little bit. But another possibility is try to replace. Another point is to replace those lines with something more subtle. Here, you have Bo talk about his affection, his feeling. Probably you can go kind of slightly indirect route, not be that expressive in affection. Let's move on to page 44. On the top of it, Bear tears up in hate, but she doesn't let him see it. I know what you're trying to say, but probably can next time when we talk, it can help me understand how you're going to present this. Okay, further down, middle of page 44, Bear says, you're a bad liar. You can't create a diversion, bury the truth. I probably would trim down that part a little bit. Okay, now let's move on to page 45, middle of it. Bear says again, where did I say? What did I say? Bo says there's no but. And, okay, so what did I say? So here I don't quite follow you. I follow the character. Sorry, the character's interaction. Bo says but. Bear says again. What did I say? There's no but. Okay, does it mean that Bo says but, but then he says there's no but. So do the two character engage in the discussion of whether you're allowed to have a kind of like but in your conversation. So this is something that you can look into. Okay, let's move on to page 46. Towards the bottom, Bear says, no, anything is not possible. Did you do something wrong? No, anything is not possible. Probably I would say, in your dream it is. In your dream it is. Okay, further down, Bear says there is entirely correct. That's entirely correct, Bottom Boy. What do you call me? I called you Button Boy. Button Boy, you got a problem with that? Okay, this is a kind of a lover quarrel. I probably would consider it. Consider cutting it down. Move on to page 48. Bear says, I'm aware of that. Confidence or trust is not an objective metric at all. Bull says, the market runs on trust and confidence. Probably I will trim down a little bit. Okay, now let's move on to page 49. Top of page 49, Bear says, information can be verified. The rest is mistakes. Trust is a mistake. Okay, these are good lines. Further down, Bo says, what makes you so sure, huh? Let's talk about you for a second here. Well, who says you can't make a mistake? Okay. And Bear says about this, I can't. If I'm ever wrong, I will cease to exist. I am still here, so by okay. This is another pretty much like what I just said, kind of love of quarrels. Sometimes they have some interesting conversation about their life, their different viewpoints on life, and their philosophy, their insight on the society, which is all good, but like I said, it can actually drive the story off track. So try to keep this kind of thing to the minimum. Remember what I just told you when the was it Miramax shied Oscar Wilde's Ideal Husband. They trimmed down a lot of interesting stuff. But it's a movie. You have only limited time to tell the whole story. Okay, let's move on to page 55. Middle of it, Bo says, no one's called that and called me a long time. Try something a little bit colorful. I probably would say, oh, I just missed the tickling sound of this swear. So try something different. Bottom of page 55, Bo says, Bottom Boy, I studied my ass off for 18 years to get into a top IB bank. Okay, this is a little bit too long. Okay, so trim down. Okay, on page 53, Bear says, because I know what I was doing was really, really evil. Okay, do the same thing with it, trim it down. Okay, let's move on to page 54. Middle of it, Bear says, you guessed the way for you to make the most money would be to make me the most sad. Okay, this is a little bit too direct in terms of affection. There's nothing wrong with it, but if you want to go that route, then use some more extreme language to add a sense of dramatic to this specific part, and also trim down a little bit. Alright, let's move on to page 55. In the middle of it, Bo says, oh, I can't wait to see the look on your face now, you cunt. Bear says fuck you. Here I probably would replace fuck you with silence and stare. It might be more dramatic this way. Okay, let's move on to page 56, top of upper part. Bear says a day off. If you were on fire, I wouldn't piss on you. So the whole upper part I probably would trim down a little bit. Okay, let's move on to page 58. Bear says, no, I was actually done with that sentence. I usually wanted to say you got me. Okay, fuck off. You are overdone it now. All the way down to Bear, where Bear says, I know. Probably you can consider trimming down this part as well. Let's move on to page 59. The bottom of it, Bo says, man, the sky is so big. Do you actually know what the sky is blue? Why the sky is blue? I'm not even really embarrassed about it that I don't really know. Okay, embarrassed about the fact that I don't really know. Okay, let's move on to page 60. The middle of it, the interior scenes in the studio apartment night. There, first of all, when you start a new scene, usually you start with an action. Here you don't have an action, so I don't know what's going on. And all of a sudden you have Bear say this line: "Past performance does not." Okay, at least to me as a reader, it might be helpful. You can start the scene with an action, so I know what's going on. And second thing, Bear, Bear begin with voiceover. Okay, and then Bose is not in his chair. He is lying right next to Bear. And then Bear is... Now, the voiceover is gone. So, what's going on? Do you... is this more like off-screen or voiceover? Because when you say voiceover, it's something, the kind of lines that are recorded in post-production. It's not like... Bear saying the lines when she is off screen. So there's some clarification needed. Bear said Nor has been sent to the SEC. Probably you need to tell us what SEC means. And then bottom of page 60, Bear says, but I wanted to tell him about my recent Firewire upgrade. Him, who do you refer to when you say him? Okay, alright, let's move on to page 61. Towards the bottom, Bear says, well, how I like the loop now. And then he said his last wishes were for you to go long on solar cells. I guess you mean go along on the solar calls, right? Okay. All right. Bear's line: I will not. Solar is a dead end. Could I perhaps instead say some words about him? Again, who do you mean by him? Okay. Move on to page 62. Bears at the top of it, it says a eulogy. I did not know you well personally, Button Boy. However, the few impression of me had of you, not of impression of I had. So kind of a grammatical thing. Okay, let's move on to further down. Bear says, well, while I understand that you had simply reached the limit of your pathetic okay, I probably would trim down this a little bit. I will, if you don't want to do extensive rewrite, I probably would begin the line Sorry. Okay. I probably would begin that part at you were a primitive machine, machines who still make mistakes. Okay, so cut off one, 2/3 of the dialogue and keep only the bottom parts. Okay, further down, Bolt leaps out of bed, and Bolt says, "There's none. There's no error in the software." I probably would cut down "there's none." Okay. Further down, page 63, Bolt says, "No, you were not." Bitch, why can't I think of another curse? You cunt there. Probably I would consider cutting down the bantering, which don't get the story anywhere. Okay. Let's move on to page 64. Upper part, Bear says, "Now I know what my biggest and so far only regret is. I wish Button Boy had a chance to witness my extraordinarily groundbreaking sense of the absurd." Do you mean my extraordinarily witty, groundbreaking sense of the absurd? Is it extraordinarily witty or extraordinary wit? Either one. You need to pick the one that you want. Okay, let's now move on to now further down. Bear says, yeah, I wasn't discarded. I had got an upgrade today too. You had been talking to my screensaver all this time. So Bear has been talking to the screensaver. How could we tell from the beginning of the scene? So this is the same thing that I just told you about. We just need to develop this. If you want to refer to something now, you want to bring something up right now. It might be a good idea to make reference. If you want to make reference now, then you need to at least touch on it beforehand. Okay, further down the bottom of page 64, yeah, he was just a dumb machine after all. On the other hand, they turned me into a human actually. This is just my impression. This is not for Bo to say this, but for the audience to sense the change to the plot development. Okay, it's not just because, of course, to some extent, we see changes, the comparison contrast between Bowl in the beginning and Bowl at the end. We probably see some changes, but the changes is a little bit abrupt. It might be a good idea to have the changes developed gradually. Alright, so let's move on to page 65. Towards the bottom of the bowl says 800 points. Let's see. Do you mean the you mean the stocks? 800 points. Okay. Move on to page 66. Bowl says, "Oh no." Here, I probably would have take a similar approach, replacing the words with silent with an expression instead. So for example, Bowl turned his eyes skyward. Okay. Further down, Bear says, "We missed the opening, and I don't care." I probably would say, I missed the opening. And Bear says, uh-huh. Okay. Okay, the bottom of it, Bear says, fuck the Harvard Business Review. And Bo says, excuse me? Further down, continue to page 68. Middle, Bo says this is actually coffee. Bear says, no shit, Sherlock. I probably was a surprise. Bo says, it is some kind of prison, isn't it? Bear says, why are you saying that? Bo says, because it tastes like just coffee. You know you haven't said thanks yet, so you brought me coffee to bed. Okay, this is a kind of, I should say, kind of reference to something that happened earlier about one person bringing the other person coffee to bed. So naturally, it has this reference, but I'll probably trim down a little bit because this is not where you still try to establish their relationship. You're already on page 67, so this kind of thing comes a little bit too late, and also it might be losing its magic. Okay, let's move on to page 68. Middle of it, Bo says, I think I know what happened. You were going to fuck with me, and so you put the salty or whatever you got there in the cup that you were holding. Okay, this whole part needs to be trimmed down. Okay, move on to page 70. Okay, top of page 70, Bear says, I just figured I'd make coffee for both of us. I know you were going to make it into a CSI episode in your head, but... Okay, again, trim down. To some extent, you are talking about coffee again. This is a little bit my problem. It's a lot of the parts, a lot of scenes are a little bit like small talks. They're interesting. I mean, I've been single. I've never. I had girlfriends, but we never got to the point where we slept together. So I don't usually know how husband and wife, how boyfriend and girlfriend would talk in beds. But it sounds a little bit like bed talks, and they're interesting as short skits, and I enjoy them. I like them very much. But to some extent, some of the bed talks go a little bit too extensively. For example, here you're talking about the coffee, about the coffee for almost three and a half pages, and the story is not going anywhere. So this is something that you can consider. But like I said, I've been watching 1970s TV show recently, Mary Tyler Moore Show, which one of my favorites. And some of the lines that you have here resemble some of the lines and some of the interaction or scenes that I've seen in Mary Tyler Moore Show. They're cool, they're funny, and I love them, but sometimes they just stall the story. Okay. Further down, page 70, you say fade out on the lower right. Fade out. I don't know what you mean by fade out. Do you mean by a blackout? Usually, when you say fade out, that means the end. So okay. the same thing with the word later. I think we touched on that before. Move on to page 71. Middle of it, Bear says, "Thank you, sir, darling." And Bo says, "Anytime, darling, madam." This is funny. Okay, move on to page 72. There's pretty much a very extensive monologue for Bo. I would recommend, I would suggest a trim. Move on to page 73. Bo says, "Are you okay in there? Can you hear me? Seg, I thought you weren't coming back. I had to, I had to, I have no choice, and no, I mean, I thank you for coming back." Okay, trim down a little bit, okay? Alright, move on to page 75. Middle of page 75, Bo says, "I can tell you what rain tastes like, if you would like that." And Bear says, "Oh, that's just something I wanted to say. I have no particular interest in most physical sensation." Okay, why do they need to talk about rain? Does it mean that they try to go romantic? Alright, let's move on to page 676. At the top of it, Bo says yes. Probably I would reply, you can still have him say yes, but I'm just wondering what kind of facial expression she has when he says this. Further down, the middle of page 76, Bo says, "Actually, there are no similar at all. In a personal relationship, you not only assume that," okay. This is sort of like a philosophical talk. I like the talk, but trim down a little bit because it slow down the digress the attention, dry it off the track. Move on to page 80. Bear says, "Babe, save your work, because I'm logging in remotely and shutting you down for the day, okay?" This is funny, but the lines are not getting anywhere. So, cut down a little bit, okay? Further down the line, the programmer says, "Well, I just repackaged and sold him to the ditto you had me build." Okay. Is the programmer on screen or he is in person? Because I remember when you described to me the story, you said pretty much the whole thing was in your bedroom, so other people would be on screen. But here, the programmer didn't slot it as on screen, so I'm a little bit confused. Okay, now let's move on to page 81. In the bedroom scene, Bear on the phone says, "Hello, hi, yes. Can I rent a room for a few hours during the day, please?" Okay. Then the rest of it I'll probably cut it out. Like, "Great, I just want to do some catching up. Yeah, mostly on sleep." I'll cut the second half down. Ouch. Okay. Bottom of page 81, Bear says, "Bitch, damn it, why can't I think of another curse?" Okay, I think you talked about this murmuring before. You had this murmuring before, but I probably would have Bear say, "Bitch, damn it," and then in the meantime show the expression. Here you don't have the action in there, so probably have the whole thing in your head, but putting the action can help people understand it better. Okay, down to page 82, in the middle of it, Bear says, well, my goodness, I'm not a morning person, as you know. I'm going to go and buy you a tie. Okay, I probably will cut down this part. Further down, page 82, the interior scene, studio, apartment, day. You have super the next day. Is this a title card? Or is it just you referring to your camera use? Help me understand that. Okay, let's move on to page 83. Again, some of the jargon, you need to be a little bit cautious about the usage of jargon. Bear says EDFDIC. I don't know what that is. So help me understand. Bo says, hello, Madam darling. We used this column before. Hello, lover. I hope you had a wonderful day. Probably cut down this part. Further down the line, Bo says, yes, I did, but something tells me my night might be better. Goes there's an interaction, some going back and forth between the couple. Bear giggles, and then Bo says, but before I go on to the press conference, I want to kiss you. Okay, this whole part, I probably will keep the kiss you part, but the rest of it is a little bit redundant. Let's move on to page 84. Bear says, the upper part of it says, not so fast there, mister. Be a good boy now and say the magic word. Abracadabra. Okay, I probably would cut that part. Further down, Bear says, tell me, that's the best kiss you've ever had. Bo says, do I have to tell it to you, your face, or can I? Okay, this is a peaceful time before the storm, so, or is it? This is my impression, so you can think about that. Okay, let's move on. Further down, the action part, you have they make love. Is there this different? Is there's any difference between this love-making scenes and the love-making scene at the very beginning? This is just a question that I'm thrown out there because it's a film school, Wisconsin Medicine Film School. When the professor talked about this, David Bordeaux. Anyway, he says some of the students, filmmaking students, like using the same film scene, similar film scenes, at least once later into the movie. Sometimes they probably put the same scene, open and end this the film with the same scene or same look of a scene, but they give completely or drastically different meaning to it. I don't know whether you this love-making scene is very kind of a drastically different meaning, or just another love scene. Okay, this is something that you can think about. Now you have the old bold type, back in daytime. Now, is this a flashback? I'm a little bit confused. Okay, so it's like back in daytime. Bear can't believe this shit, and then back at night. Okay, so is it like cutting, like flashback? Only one short flashback. Okay, page 85. Upper part, Bear says, no, I don't really like easy stuff. And Bo says, good, because I'm not going to get hard soon. This very good puns. Okay. Further down, page 86. Bo says, "Don't tell me you miss the old me." And Bear says, "I guess a balanced would be nice." Good lines, but try to think why you're putting the lines there. Okay. Further down, Bo says, "What's the proverb then?" And Bear says, "I'm not sure. Are we in love or are we at war?" Okay. If you don't have this proverb, then what would you need Bo to say what's the proverb? You will bring up the whole concept, the discussion of proverb only when Bear probably would bounce back with the proverb. So I probably would consider trimming down the part where they talk about proverb. Okay. Further down, Bo gets on the bed, holds her hand, and Bear says, "Is there something on your mind that you want to tell me about? Whatever it is." I probably would have Bears just say honey. And then they have kind of an interchange of eye like glances, exchange of glances. Okay, page 87, top of it, Bo says, "Yes, there is." I probably would trim it, cut it down, cut it out. Then they have discussion about a non-research doctor. This is a kind of weird because did we know that she should have been a non-research doctor? Like I said, this probably need to be built up earlier in the script, so that when they talk about this, the whole discussion will mean something. Okay. Middle of it there says "answer me." I probably would cut it out. Okay. Bo says, "Just live off a few $100 million of an interest payment per year." This is more like a kind of discussion of a series of topics, and be cautious about this kind of a small talk. I mean, I love those small talks, but sometimes it just digresses. So they just digresses off the track. Okay, to page 88. The bottom of the bowl says, "I don't know yet, but I have a feeling this time it's a girl." I don't know where it comes from. You have to have a pretext. The same on top of page 88, Bo says, "Let's try it out. Try it out with me. Take a little bit of pre-retirement right now. Call it a retirement." This is also a little bit like out of context. Page 89. Towards the bottom of it, Bo says, "I'm interested in moolah, wherever it may be. If I can make it through trading energy, in which I am an industry leading guru, all the better." So, again, do we get the information before, or he just said so? Okay, this is something that you can think about. Let's move on to page 890. Upper part, Bear says they did it. Again, who do you mean by they? Okay, page 91. Upper part, Bear says global hunger can be effectively eliminated. The energy crisis will be a museum exhibit. A museum exhibit is cool, so make sure when you trim down the part, keep that line. Okay. Further down, Bo says, "I don't want to change the world." I probably would trim down me and just you, and I cannot wait for that any longer than I already have. Okay, let's move on to page 92. The upper part, Bear said short a stock called NOLV immediately. Okay, another scientific jargon or business jargon. Let's move on to further down. Towards the bottom, Bo says, I would follow you to the end of the earth. In what mood does she say that? He, right? Bo, yeah. No. In what mood did he say that? Again, you have a lot of interesting long lines, series of lines, but you don't have the action and no the instruction. So sometimes it's very confusing for me to follow because I can hear the voice, but I can't put in the kind of emotion, the right emotion to have that voice read the line for me. So, all right, page 93. Bo says, and execute. That's it. God damn it. That feels. I'm hard as a slice of kryptonite right now. I probably cut the things come after. Damn it. God damn it. In the middle of page 93, Bo says, "Anal to celebrate. Moments pass painfully." Bo says, "I meant my asshole, obviously. My asshole is hard." This sex motif is interesting, but by the time you move to page 93, you probably have overused it. So it's not fresh anymore. So this is something you need to consider. Don't use it too often. I mean, this is a kind of a very indie film, and I like the indie feel of the film. But my concern is sometimes you use the motif too often. Okay, let's move on to page 94. Towards the bottom, Bear says, "I'm guessing my moving truck should be here in about 10 minutes. So is she moving out? I don't think I don't seem to get that impression." And then further down, Bear says, "Cause I'm leaving your ass, and this time is for real. So help me God." Why? This is a little bit. I know you want to put the lines there, but a little bit out of context. Again, it might be helpful to put in more information of the action. Okay, let's move on to page 95. Again, middle of the scene, Bo says, "I have IBS." Make sure the audience understand what IBS is. Bottom of the page, Bo says, "There is always a chance to make the mistake like she did last night." Who is she? Okay. Page 96. Middle of page 96, Bo says, "Well, at first, and then just so you would stay, I started to pretend to be in love with you, but then slowly I fell in love with you for real." This is interesting. So the coffee and breakfast again. I don't know. Do you refer to the coffee and breakfast scenes? If so, this is kind of a direct way of having the character talk about his feelings. Let's try not to have them express their feeling directly. Instead, we have them tell us their feeling through action, or through their talk about something else. Okay, let's move on to page further down. Bo says, "I don't even know how to put it properly, but I cheated on you with the other you. I have no excuse." So, okay, did the Do we get it from the course of the story? This is a question that we probably need to ask ourselves. Okay, page 97. Upper part both says, last night I got the $1 billion tip if I were to wait. This confession should be presented in a more dramatic fashion. It's more like having him give out the information. It sounds a little bit plain. So try to throw out the information in a more dramatic way. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, further down, Bo says, she has a name. It's Judy. I didn't say it was until now because I didn't want you to get angry or anything. But do we know that the Judy thing? I don't think that we did. So be cautious about that. Further down, Bear says, "Yeah, that was smart. Now I hate you way more." Okay. Now I hate you way more. Do it. Express it with action. Okay. Move on to page 98. At the bottom of it, Bear says, "Once again and for the last time, that's enough." So probably we can consider building up the emotion. Okay, so like building up the anger or building up the frustration. We need to see that development. Okay. Page 99. Page 99. Top of it. Bo says, "You're right, I'm sorry. Your truck must be here right now. Shower, please, before you go. Otherwise, you are going to get a headache in the car." What headache in the car? Probably it's a cultural thing. Further down, Bo says, "Oh, and I slept with a prostitute I hired from the internet." Where did he say that? Did he really did it? Did he really do it? But we just didn't know about. Or he was just saying it. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's see. 101, page 101. Towards the bottom of it, there says, "What do we do now then? Tell me." I probably would cut out a "what do we do now then." Okay. Okay. The ending is interesting. Is lovely. So no objection to the ending. So this is my my impression in a nutshell. Page by page. Hopefully be helpful to you to some extent. Also, you can think about an alternative title for the film. This is just a suggestion, but if you want to keep it, that's fine as well. So in general, you're on the right track, and I'm very excited seeing the whole project moving to the next step. We probably need to come up with a workable and feasible timetable for the project. In how many weeks? By which month would you like to finish finalizing the script? And also when should we start thinking about casting? I please give my regard to those people who are already on board. Um, uh, it's uh, it's it's a passionate labor, I should say. So I'm looking forward to working with the crew, and so first, while you're working on the rewrites, try to think of when you would like to have might be a workable deadline for this finalization of the rewrite of the script, and when you would like to move into production, and so we have a general idea when we need to have the casting done. Okay. I've been talking for 80 minutes non-stop, so I better stop, because in the morning I talked for another 90 minutes as a guest lecturer, so I really need a break. Okay. This is my feedback. Hopefully you have something to bring with you. If you just find most of the things I say nonsense, you don't need to tell me. You just take whatever you think is useful, and disregard things that don't work. Because, like I said, after all, we are collaborating on this project, but you are the person who's eventually eventually direct the film and shoot it. So you have your vision, and I would appreciate it if you can share with me your vision. And so that's it. I'll get off the soapbox and talk to you later.